So hello everyone, myself Azim, and today's video is going to be very interesting because today I'm going to start a new journey. This journey is about Android app development and everything that you need to know about it. I will form a playlist. I will upload several videos in specific sequence, and that playlist will be known as Android App Development Full Course. And that playlist might be the easiest and the most simplified video complete course about Android app development that you can find on the entire internet. I will make sure that you understand every aspect of the Android app development and everything that is needed to be understood in order to master the art, in order to master Android. So, what is Android? Android app development is you basically creating Android apps that you run on your mobile phones. Anything from games like Flappy Bird, Angry Birds, to applications like Google Duo, Skype, to your social media, Instagram, WhatsApp, and everything that you download directly from Google Apps, Play Store, etc., etc. All those come under apps with the and they have the extension of .apk, right? And the process of making that application so that it can run on your mobile devices, that process is known as Android app development. The basic two things or the core that we say of anything is in Android is Java or Kotlin, and the other is XML. If you don't know XML, then no worries, because we are creating our Android apps with the help of Android Studio. Now, what is Android Studio? Android Studio is basically a software used to create Android apps with Java, Kotlin, and XML files, right? So, in this entire course, I will be using Java because Java is such a vastly used language, and I will be teaching every aspect of Java that you need to know from scratch, everything till the very end, the entire Java that is needed to understand complete Android app development. Okay, so we will have lectures in the future about Java 2. We will explain Java, every aspect of it, and we will go through everything. For today, in this video, I am about to give you a basic idea of everything of how Android Studio work, and anyone who has a basic understanding of Java or may not have a basic understanding of Java might understand this video. I will create a small, very simple application and then run it, and I will tell you everything, every small part of it. So you will get the basic idea of what Android app development is. So in further videos, I can elaborate on every single point, every single topic, including learning Java from scratch. So today we are going to create our very first app. So when you go to Android Studio, click on new project, you will get these templates. So these are predefined templates that have pre-coded things if you want them. For example, if I want an activity of Google Map, I can directly choose this. If I want three tabs like WhatsApp, I can choose this, right? But as we want to code everything and we want to keep our very first application on Android very simple and as simple as it can go, we will choose this empty activity and we'll press next. Now, this second place is where you tell the name of your app. Let's say anything. Let's say the name is Aster, right? And package name, let's not bother about that. Package name, you can just write com.example. Anything that you like, right? And save location, see it's saying the path C is not writable, please choose a new location because Aster does not exist right now. We have to create Aster, so we will create a folder name Aster, and then we'll say, and see, the application name for most apps begins with an uppercase. Let's just ignore that. And then it asks for language. So as I said, the entire Android applications can be programmed in two various languages. First is Kotlin and the second is Java. So as Java, apart from Android, it can be vastly used in many other places too. So it's better to learn Java first, because if you learn Java, it will be helpful to you in many other things too. So I'll just select Java and minimum API level. So you must have heard about different Android versions: ice cream sandwich, jelly bean, Kit Kat, lollipop, Oreo, etc., etc. So on how many of these previous versions of the Android your application that you are about to make will run, that will be ensured here. So let's just say 4.0.3, a really old version. So it says 100% of devices, it will work on 100% of devices, because it will be made in such a minimal way, right? Okay, let's press finish, and that's it. We started our very first project. So it will take some time to sync. When you open a new project, it sync all the data, it sync all the files, Gradle scripts, and made its build. Okay, don't worry about these things. I know you won't be understanding them right now, but in future lectures, while I'll explain each and everything to you, you will get a proper idea of it. For now, just go as the video goes. Okay, so here this is basically a build. You can say a compiler which tells what's happening, right? So first the aster folder was synced successfully, all the files was created, the build was run, build was loaded, configured, calculated, task again, and the task were run. Let's just minimize it because we don't have any function of it. Okay, so as I told you earlier that it consists of two main files. First is the Java, this is the Java code, right? And the second is the XML file. XML file is basically what deals with how your application looks. In respect of web development analogy, we can say that .xml file is here is the front end, and main activity.java, the coding that we do, is like a back end, right? So everything that happens behind the scenes that we can't see, when you press a button, when you click on a checkbox, when you use a radio box or anything, a progress bar, anything, then what will happen, that is ensured by main activity.java, right? Further, .xml file is basically the front end. It tells you how the file will look. Okay, let's, and here the location of the file, etc., etc. Let's just minimize this too, we don't have any work for that. Now here are two things: text and design. Text is where you actually code everything, and with design is a very important and very amazing thing in Android Studio, where you don't have to code everything. You just do the changes and the code will change itself as per the given scenario, right? Okay, so for example, here I can say here's this text, hello world. Okay, so first let me explain what we want to make, right? So the app that we want to make is, we will be given a box, and the user will write a name, and the name that the user will write, it will just display that your name is this. We will enter first name of the user, last name of the user, and then concatenate it and show it as your full name is this and this. So that is, it's a very simple application, but we are doing it to ensure to learn every simple part of it, so you get the basic idea that what you are going to do in the future lectures. In this entire video series, in all my videos, I'll teach fragment by fragment every part of the entire Android Studio, and by the end of this entire video series, we will be cloning huge applications like Twitter, Instagram, etc., etc. So it's going to be real fun. Just hang on, just wait a little, just learn. Okay, so let's delete this. Okay, let's just delete this hello world. And okay, So now this is the basically the view how your application is going to look, right? So here is the palette consists of text view, buttons, etc, etc. And we'll go to text. We want to play we want a plain text, right? We will just drag and drop. That's it. That's how easy it is. um, let's remove this text and we will fill it with hint. So let's see, where is hint. Here is the name. So here I will write first name. So what does the hint do? So it will tell the user what we are basically asking from it. And then let's just say we want to spread it. So to spread it we will just okay, layout height. Okay, let's just go into the text. We can code it easily, right? So let's say see, edit text. So layout with this wrap content here. So we'll just remove this wrap content and we'll do fill parent. Okay, so it's not allowing us to do fill parent. Okay, let's see. Okay, so there's some issue. Okay, let's see. Wrap content, ctrl save. We will go to design. Now we will let's say we put it here, right? Now let's say we drag another plain text and drop it here. Okay, and now what we will do is we again remove this text and we'll go to hint as we went earlier. And from hint what we'll do is just ensure it to last name, and when we'll press enter it will be successfully changed. Furthermore, what we'll do is we will attach a button. You don't have to code the entire button in it, but in order to it, just drag it. So we'll go to the palette, we'll go to the buttons, and we'll just immediately drop it. We just made the front end of the application, but haven't coded the back end of the application yet. So let's see how it will appear when we'll run it, right? So I will start my emulator. The main problem with emulator is when you run it for the first time, it takes time. It takes time, and as per your RAM, the RAM of your system, it takes time. And okay, so the Android emulator is on. Okay, so this is my Android emulator. It is showing basic UI. Basic UI was the application that I was working before this video, and our application is Aster, right? So it hasn't updated it yet. Let's see and wait. Okay, and see, I was making these apps like Codevil, Emousy, Click Demo, Asterix, Basic UI. There's so many good apps that we are going to discuss in our video lectures further in other videos. But for now, we are working on Aster, and let's see. I think it didn't access is build properly, so we have to run the emulator again. See, Gradle innovation finished. So when it says Gradle invocation finished, what it means is basically it has successfully compiled, and now it knows that yes, your application is ready to run and there is no issues with it, right? So we will just run it and see. Emulator process finished with access code 0. Let's see how much time it will take now. I think it will take less time now, because for the first time it takes time to load the emulator, but in the second time it doesn't, because the emulator knows. Okay, so as you can see, that's what I want to show you. The button has gone to the upper left, first name went down, and the last name is here. Why this happened? Because we haven't applied the constraint yet. So now what are constraints? Constraints are basically the limitations that you apply. You tell the application what is the proper constraint between the two, right? So we want that last name is below the first name, right? So let's zoom it a bit. and let's zoom it. Okay, so we'll go to the last name, we'll go here, and we'll just connect it. What happened when we did this? Now it knows that first name, then last name. Last name comes just below the first name, and then this button just below the last name, right? So we will constrain it here. So due to this constraint, we'll make sure it's 28. Okay, good. So what happened when I did this? Now it knows the basic constraints. It knows what I wanted to show. What I want that first name and then last name and then button, right? Now let's run it. Okay, this time the emulator will run really fast because we have already run it 2 times. Okay, so okay, so it has updated. Now this was the earlier app and now the app is updated. Now we have updated the app to this. Okay, see, now it is showing as we wanted, first name, last name, button. But you can see button, first name and last name all went to the very left, right? So how to do that? For that we have to make the horizontal constraints. What are horizontal constraints? Is basically how it will look. So what we just did with this and this was the vertical constraints. Now we'll apply the horizontal constraint, that we want it to be at the very center, like this, like this, and then we'll apply those constraints to this last name and the first name too. These let me do the vertical constraints, and the other vertical constraint will be applied here. And okay, there's some issue, I guess. Okay, and with the first name we'll do the same. And so now we have made all the constraint vertical as well as horizontal. Now we know that it will work. This time it will be showing what we wanted to show. So what we basically did, we made the horizontal constraints, we made the vertical constraint. So this was how our app was looking earlier, and now it will load again and will show you how it looks now. So this is how our apps looks. We can write first name, we can write last name, and when we press button nothing happens. Wait for it. Now we have to design a backend, right? Something should happen. So when, let's go to button, let's go down, and there's this thing known as on click. Okay, let's see where is on click. Chai chai, and the on click is here. So what is on click? On click is basically a function, a functionality that will happen when the button is pressed. So let's say on clicked is this happened. See, it became red because there is no function with the name this happened. But no need to panic, we will create it. Now we'll go to Java. Okay, we will create a function. What is a function? In Java, a function is something that does something. That's it. So when we click on the button in the activity main.xml, something will happen. What is that something? That will be defined by the function. And we named our function this happened. So we'll write public, which means it is open to all, void because it doesn't return anything. We will discuss it further in the Java lectures, and then we'll write this happened, and then we'll write view. What is view? We will explain it for in the future. Okay, view, view, and then this is our function. So what needs to happen? Okay, now let's just address this first. What in Java, the basic variables are int, integers, boolean, true and false, double, float. But in Android app development, there are some more. These are when some user enters something in this or this is known as added text. So capital E edit and then capital T text. Edit text is treated as a variable type, as a data type. Okay, and this is a button data type. And then a text, let's put a text here, a normal text. Okay, that says nothing. Okay, so it says nothing, but we will, it says nothing because we don't want it to say nothing, anything. Let's make a constraint here, make a constraint here, and then make a constraint here, and I think that's it. Okay, so this is just a text, something written, right? That is known as text view. When a user writes something, it is known as edit text, and this is button. So button, edit text, and text view are treated as variables in Java when we are using Android app development, not in normal Java. So as I said, edit text is uh, okay, so this is the edit text. Okay, as I said, we will give it a id, let's say text1. Okay, and we will say yes, and then we will give it id text2. Okay, just say yes. What is this? This is button1. Basically we are naming all the things as per our we'll say click me. Okay, so id is button1. Okay, and the text, what is the text id of text is uh, this is text 3. So we are asking for text 1 from user, text 2 from user, and then changing text 3 as per our convenience when the click me button is pressed, right? Okay, so let's go here. As I said, edit text is a variable, and then added text, what was the name? Text1, right? Text1, what does so what does the text1 have? What type of it is added text. And then there is this function, it is known as find view by id. So it will just go to xml file which is known as view, and it will search for a specific id. And as we gave the id text1, text1, but wait, we will have to reference it. So it will take the reference with respect to id, and that is text1. So that's it. And every line in Java ends with semicolon. Nextly, there is one, and there is another edit text, right? So edit text text2, this contains the last name. So edit text find view by id, we will take the reference or dot id dot text2. And then the third one is not edit text. The third one is okay, the third one is basically our text3, right? But it is plain text, so it is text view. So text view, okay, it's not that, it's text view. Text view, and the name was text3, right? Text3 is equal to, and then text view find view by id, we will reference it by its id, and the id is text3, right? So now we have accessed all the three things. The first two are the user inputs, and the text3 is what we want to change. So what we will do is we will take the text3 and we'll say dot set text, which means we will change the text to we will say hello, your name is, and we'll write plus, and then we'll write text one dot get text dot to string. Why we are converting it to string? Because it is not in string, it is in the format of edit text. So we'll have to convert it into string to concatenate it with the other things, right? And then plus, and then a space, because both first name and last name will have a space in between them. And then again we will write text 2 dot get get text dot to string. And I think that's it. Let's run it. Now we have done the backend, and let's run our application. We will open the emulator, and emulator is basically set to Moto C API 22. Basically, the device that we are, this mobile phone that it's shown in the screen is basically Moto C plus. That's the mobile set that I am using, but you have to configure it as per the RAM and the requirements of your application. See, Gradle invocation finished, and let's see how our app is appearing. This is the final edit. This is the finally how our app is going to look. Now let's see. Okay, first name is Sayyed. Next name is Azim, and let's. What will happen when we press click me? When we are pressing click me, it will say, "Hello, your name is Sayyed Azim." If it does, then our application works. See, hello, your name is Sayyed Azim. So our application is working really fine. So that was it for the first lecture. This was basically to make you realize how easy and simplified Android app development in Java can be. But you have to study it, you have to understand it slice by slice. But don't worry, I am here. I'll be making a complete series of videos in which I will teach every aspect of Java that is needed in order in Android Studio. We will clone some application, we will create UI, UX, user interfaces, user designs, and we will understand every different aspects of Android app development. I hope you understood and gained knowledge from this video. As I'm going to create a series of videos on Android development full course, make sure to subscribe